Hey everyone, I'm James and this is Build Tune Race Live, and if you haven't yet, make sure you guys subscribe. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Heiler from Castle Hill Performance down in Australia. He does a lot of EFI tuning on all sorts of cars. So hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast. So for anybody that doesn't know you, I know a little bit of background, but I'd like to know some more about you. Tell us about yourself. I know you tune and you have a shop there in Australia and everything, but kind of give us some background on how you got started and all that, if you would.
Yes, that's just the usual story. Yeah, your dad's into cars, and you follow your dad around everywhere doing everything. So I sort of playing with cars since I was born, basically, and that's sort of how it all started. And you buy a car and you modify that car, and then you make that car go faster, and it's just the process from there, So
sure, absolutely.
We got a shop here in Sydney. We got 4 of us work here. We do pretty much everything from basic servicing to full race car builds, just depending on what the customer wants.
Heck yeah! So the two main cars I guess I always see you posted with is would be a Holden, right? It's kind of like a GTO here in the States, and then the RX-3.
Yep. So the GTO is our shop car. I'm the lucky one that gets to drive it, and we're actually heading out to the track in a couple of hours with that this afternoon. So, and then the RX-3, that's one of our mates' cars. It's been a good little car. A bit of a bad run with some luck on that one lately, but it's getting there. It's gone 677 and it's gone 211 mile an hour in the quarter on a 275 radial. So it's pretty quick.
What's that car weigh?
That weighs exactly 3,000 pounds with a driver in it.
Okay.
So,
does it have an air to water and stuff in it, or is it on methanol?
Yeah, methanol, no intercooler. So it's not a lightweight car. It's all steel. Still got wind-up windows in it. It's still, doors open and closed. Factory, still glass, front and rear and side windows. Everything's all glass. The only thing that's fiberglass on it is the nose cone and the bonnet. Everything else is steel. So it's not a race car by any stretch of the imagination. Like it probably shouldn't go as fast as it does. It's only got like a 6-point roll cage in it and a few other bits and pieces. But
Sure.
the guys that drive it, they love it, and that's all that matters.
That's it. No, it's such a neat little car. It gets tons of attention. I picked up a little RX-2, kind of watching that car. It got me excited. I found an RX-2 here in the States. I'm going to put more of a street car than that, but all the rotary guys don't like the idea of the V8 going in them older cars.
They hate it. It's like, I reckon it's probably the most hated Mazda in the world, that car. It just does. Like, it was the fastest RX-3 in the world, and then a guy in Puerto Rico went a 6.772 or something. He got a 6.776. So, they were all happy because they beat it. But they got like a 32-14 tyre and falling full chassis, this, that. And,
sure.
But,
it's all part of it. Everybody's chasing everybody at some point.
Exactly. So someone's always going to be faster. It doesn't matter what it is. Someone is always going to be faster. So.
Always, yeah. And now it's pretty crazy how many, I guess maybe with the internet and everything, now there's so many people in like Dubai or Australia or the US, and they're all chasing the same records. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's worldwide now. Everyone the internet's really opened up a whole new level of competition, really. Someone will always won a record for the fastest blue Commodore Ute with 2 doors and a lift up back with an LS in it, So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's in the blue car?
It's got a big block Chevy in it now. It did have an LS in it. So, and then the engine in the RX-3 actually broke a crankshaft, so we put the engine out of the Commodore into that. So, and then we thought, we'll put a big block in the Commodore. So it's been pretty good. It's been pretty reliable so far, and we've had a few electrical gremlins which we've got on top of now. So last time out we hurt the gearbox, so that's been fixed, and then we'll go out this afternoon and hopefully run into the 6s, which is the aim with that. So it's been a long time coming, but hopefully today we can get it done. So
yeah, it's a super neat car. Both of them are twin turbo conventional type setups. Do you do a lot of tuning on nitrous? Is nitrous big down there too, and setups like that, or not really?
Nitrous isn't very big in Australia. There's a few nitrous cars here, but it's 12, 14 bucks a pound. So
wow,
most people aren't. It's just too expensive. So there might be probably 5 or 6, quick nitrous cars here. That's about it. So most of the nitrous tuning stuff I've done's been on cars in the States.
So now you have right there where you guys are at your shop, you said you do car builds and everything else. You have a dyno right there on hand too, right?
Yep,
You'll do tuning on pretty much everything? Or?
Yep, we've got a 4-drive Dynamics dyno here. We've got, we've got a full fab shop, so we can fabricate pretty much anything. Chris, our fabricator, he's very good. We can pretty much build anything. So
that's awesome. What both cars that you tune, like I guess they both have Haltech, right?
Yep.
Is that kind of your go-to system, or you don't really care, or is that kind of the one you know the best?
We tune everything, but Haltech is our main system that we use. They're literally 25 minutes down the road to us. I've got a very good relationship with the guys at Haltech, so that is our go-to system that we use. But we tune anything. There's not a lot of cars here with Heiler, but I've tuned cars and boats here with Heiler, Fast, Autronic, Motec, old Haltechs, everything like that. We do pretty much everything. A lot of OEM reflashing. That's probably the biggest thing at the moment is reflashing factory computers and GM. Everyone reflashes the GM stuff, so that's probably the biggest thing we do.
Because all that's pretty much the same, right? The GM computers from here to there, it's all the same setups and everything.
Yeah, so just HP tuners, EFI Live, or whichever one you choose to use. It's all the same stuff. That's what you guys have got over there.
Absolutely. That's cool, man. So what else? What else are you guys working on? What's some projects or things coming up?
Yeah, we've got a pretty cool car here at the moment that we're working on. It's like a 2010 Pro Stock car from the States, full carbon body, all the bits and pieces.
Wow.
It's put a twin turbo LS in that. It's got a pair of Gen 2 Garrett 88mm on it. It'll be about 2,100 pounds thereabouts, ready to race. So it should be the fastest LS powered car in the country when it's done. So it's probably about 4 months off being ready to race. So
wow,
it's actually pretty cool.
How many tracks do you have to go to?
How many tracks?
Yeah, how many drag strips do you have there close to you?
So we've got one about 20 minutes away from here, which is like Sydney Dragway, and then the next closest one's 12 hours north or 12 hours south. So.
Oh, okay. So you got a bit of a drive then there.
Yeah, it's definitely, we're not as lucky as you guys where you've got one every 100 miles there's a track. Here we've got 5 main tracks in Australia, and that's about it. Wow. One in every state, and then you've got a couple of little regional tracks around, but they're not nothing like you guys have got there. You guys have got it really lucky. So.
Sure. Which track is it that holds, like when 1320 comes, they videoed you guys with RX3 and all that stuff. What track is that? Is that the one that's close to you?
Sydney. So that was in
Gotcha.
Sydney. So.
Now, how far is that from where they have like the summer nats and stuff like that?
So Canberra is about 2.5 hours south. So it's not too far.
Okay. No, that's cool. I want to make it out there one of these years. That's a pretty crazy event, but then I'd want to go check out the drag strip and too while being out there. It'd be pretty neat.
So you'll fly into Sydney when you fly over, and then so the drag strip's probably an hour and a half drive from the airport, and then 2.5 hours down to Canberra from there. So
yeah, that's not bad then.
Yeah, some of that's pretty good. It's nice and hot, and plenty of tough cars.
Do you go to those events?
Yeah, I went to Summer Nats last year, and that was the first time since Summer Nats 17. I think I've been there. It was 15 years or something since I've been before that. So it's too hot down there. It gets like 110, 115 degrees every day. So
it's terribly hot. Yeah, I gotcha. Once you've seen it once, you're like, I don't know if I want to go through all that again. I get it.
But I hadn't been for so long, and then one of my good mates is the marketing manager for Summernats, and he said, come down. Haltech said, come down and help out on our stand for a couple of days. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go. I like helping out on the trade stands. It's good fun talking to people and you see a lot of people that you know that you don't see very often, and they all come and you have a chat. It's a pretty good couple of days. It's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you tune a couple cars here in the States, right? A couple like Joe off of Street Outlaws.
Yep.
Or you've worked on his car and stuff.
Yeah, we did a fair bit on his. We originally did the nitrous, like when we converted that to fuel injection when it was nitrous.
Sure.
That was interesting. Yeah, nitrous is a bit of a. It's a you get it right, it's all good. You get it wrong, and it sprays the pistons from one side of the track to the other. So
sure.
It wasn't too bad. He had a few issues and a couple of little things. Then we decided to go turbo on that. So it's been turbo now for a couple of years, and he hasn't had the best of luck lately. But everyone's probably seen all the issues that he has over the time, and most of it was all back to the time schedules that those guys have to keep. People don't understand that they film 2 or 3 nights a week. So if something goes wrong with the car, they get 1 day to fix it before they've got to be filming again. So like they're filming season 11 at the moment. They raced last night and they're racing tomorrow night. So when they it's
pretty crazy.
Yeah. So touch wood so far this season. He bought an engine from like Mike Henson at Henson Racing Engines. So he bought the old engine out of Plan B. He's put that in his car, put a pair of 98mm Pro Mods on it. And it's been so far. It's been good. It's been going really well. So hopefully it continues to go well, and it'll be a good season.
So now has he kind of picked up on some of the tuning stuff, or are you in constant contact with looking over data and everything for him?
I speak to him probably 10 times a day. But he makes the calls on how much power to put in the car now. Like he's done a lot of passes in that car since it's been turboed. So. And he's a chassis builder, so he does all his own chassis work. He does all his own piping, does everything. So
sure.
He does it all himself. So he makes all his own calls on how much power to put in it, and he does it. So he's picked it up from not having any clue at all, like 2.5, 3 years ago about EFI. He could now. Set up his car from scratch. He can set his own, basic ignition timing. He can set up a fuel map. He can set up a boost table. He can do everything himself. He's pretty good. He's pretty switched on, and he still has to ring every now and again if he's got a tricky problem or something like that. But most of the time, he's pretty on the ball. So
yeah, and so I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. When they're kind of getting into the aftermarket, is a lot of the standalone ECUs now have it all built in. The boost controllers built in, so it makes everything a lot easier to access all in one program, unless you choose to do it otherwise. But
so everything on that car is all done through like one USB cable. So there's one interface and he controls the whole car. So it does everything: gearbox, bump, which he's had issues with that over the years, but it's all rectified now. His boost control, his torque management, traction control, all that stuff is all done through one USB cable, which makes it easy because you can look at your data and you can look at your tune and overlay the two and see exactly what's going on. So
absolutely. I saw Frank. I don't want to mess up his last name. He has the really cool wagon. I guess you guys were looking for a dyno here in the States or something.
Yeah, that's Frank Saponaro. So. I'm actually doing drag week with Frank this year in that car. So
that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So that's a quick car. He's run a 462, I think it's gone.
Wow.
It's 3,800 pounds, big block. It's got a Haltech on it, and it's a quick car. So we want to run pretty quick with that car at drag week. So he's done some pretty tricky fuel system bits and pieces over the winter and given it a freshen up and all that sort of stuff. So it should be good fun, I reckon. I keep hearing about this drag week and how it's so hot and this, but it's got air conditioning and everything in it, so it shouldn't be too much of a drama.
So you've never been to it? I take it.
No, I've never been to drag week. I wanted to do it for a long time, obviously, but it's one of those things. It's always hard to coordinate everything. To send a car from here is so expensive. And then last year, Frank said, "Come do drag week with me." I'm like, "Yep, all right, I'm in, I'm done." So let's do it. So they've got
that'll be
flights
super cool.
ready to go. So
hopefully all goes smooth. Some of the drag week stories I've heard are some of the best stories, but probably not at the time of doing it, but they end up being good. All
yeah,
the
that car
image and everything.
Touch wood, that car has been has served Frank pretty well. It's been pretty reliable. It doesn't eat itself up, and it doesn't hurt many parts. So it should be all right. It should be a good week, I hope. So anyway, it's going to be fun either way. Whether the car's working properly or not, it's still going to be a fun week. So
yeah, there's a few other guys that from Australia that travel over and do the event, and
yeah,
it's kind of a world
Terry
thing.
from Queensland, he's sending a car. A couple of his customers are sending cars over. Another mate's sending a car over. So it should be good. There'll be a lot of Aussies there this year. So
That's cool. Yeah, that's too bad not something like you said, you'd have to have enough tracks and everything else close enough, so something like that's really not even plausible there, I guess. But
down in Melbourne, there's a couple of regional tracks, and they're doing a sort of drag week style thing, but we can't have cars on the road like you guys have. Like
that's right.
Yeah, so you try to drive the Promod down the street, they don't look too kindly on it, and you get into a fair bit of trouble. So it's definitely not.
So what is kind of the laws and rules for anybody that doesn't know? Because I forgot it's totally different over there, right?
Spin the tyres, go to jail. That's about it.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah, they'll take your license and your car off you if you're caught racing. Yeah, if you get caught twice, they'll crush your car.
Wow.
Your car's too low, they'll defect it off the road, things like that. So it's pretty tough. It's having a fast street car now is not something that you really have over here. A lot of people still have them, but you got to be careful because otherwise you end up getting just defected off the road. So
sure. So it seems like a lot of people here in the States are trying to build more of that over the last few years, that street car type. But like you're saying over there, it's still cool, but like building a real drag car that's specific would be a little bit more when you got to be that careful, I guess, on the road.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to have a crossover between a drag car and a street car. It just doesn't happen. But like we just finished building like an old '69 Camaro, like it's an immaculate car. It come over with a big block in it. We twin turboed it and put a turbo 400 in it, and that's probably about as far as you can go while keeping it sort of drive on the road without getting into too much trouble. Everything's under the bonnet. It all fits nice. It's not loud. Yeah, it's on airbag suspension and stuff, but it's all got that ride leveling control in it. So cruising around, it's not on the ground and all that sort of stuff. So that's probably about as far as you can take it without going too far. But that's probably still realistically that car. It made near on 1,000 at the tyres, just on E85 as he drives it every day. So that car will probably run like a mid-9, 950 or something like that. So
yeah,
that's about as good as you can get.
Yeah, so there's still plenty. You just got to be a little more careful, I guess, about it. That's what's part of the difference. It's crazy just the difference in you living in Australia and what you have to deal with, and people over here to have no idea what the differences are or anything like that. So,
no, like you go driving through like Dallas or Oklahoma or something, and there's literally guys driving down the road in full on race cars, and you're just like, wow, that's cool. You don't see that here. It just doesn't happen. So
yeah,
you guys have definitely got it a lot better than us in that department over there.
Sure. So you're planning on coming? Are you just planning on coming over and tuning on his car before drag week? Is that what the kind of?
Frank's going to race Yellow Bullet Nationals the week before drag week.
Okay.
Like flights booked to come after that, but I'm thinking depending on there's a couple of race meets here at that exact time. So depending on what happens with our car and the RX3 and a few other cars, depending on what's going on with them and which race they're all going to race. I may move my flight forward and do Yellow Bullet Nationals with Frank, and then go, do drag week and then head over to Oklahoma for a week. But just depending on what happens, I'll work that out as the time gets closer. So
yeah, it's always you're always kind of on the edge, I guess, if the car's good to go or not, or who's ready
Yeah.
and what races are coming. And
So we've got radials on our Commodore at the moment, but we've got it's like
oh,
a
okay,
first time ever in Australia. There's like a race car with a $50,000 prize money. So
wow,
I probably won't turn up to that race with radials on. I'll probably have
sure,
like a 3417 or something on the back. Just it's 8 miles, middle of winter. I think just a big tyre is going to be a better call for that one. So
sure,
we still got everything because it used to have big tyres on it, so I've still got all the wheels and everything to put big tyres back on. So I'll probably do that. If I do that, I may leave them on, and so it just depends on what happens. It depends on what races we'll do in September. And then
very cool.
what,
So I had a couple questions come through. I'll shoot them to you and see what you
yeah,
think. Some tuning stuff, I always tell people that it's always specific to their combo or whatever, but you try to give them the best advice on what they're doing.
yeah.
But some things I've dealt with here and some guys that have switched over from older setups to EFI and everything else is a big thing. Is like, is it really that hard? What's all does it take? What are some things to watch for? Just so what's your general advice to people that are looking to switch over to EFI?
Well, if they want to tune the car themselves, then they need to purchase the product from someone who's going to help them. Because if you've got a carburetor and like a MSD 6A or something like that on your car and you're trying to set it up for EFI, you are going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck. So if you buy it from someone who can help you, then it generally makes the transition a lot simpler. Yeah, the basic tuning principles are still the same. Like a bigger number in the fuel map is more fuel, so it's just like putting a bigger jet in your car. Or an ignition number is an ignition number the same as what they're used to see. So the actual tuning of it is not much different, but it's understanding of how the software works and all that is what they're probably going to have the biggest issue with.
Sure.
But if they purchase it from someone who can help them, then generally the issues aren't that large, So, and it's
Right.
getting
And now,
easier
so
these days.
remember, yeah, it's definitely getting easier with some of the self-learn features and everything else and some of the computers and everything. It's
Yeah, like
everybody
the
reads
Altec
self-learn.
and the Holly both have pretty good self-learning stuff that when you can just
Right.
tell it what air fuel you want and it will tune itself. You go drive it for 20 minutes and it's pretty much done, So
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've told some people. And I think a lot of people are just scared of the computer, learning it and understanding it. But then whenever you show them the data and how they can watch all the data, they really like that part of it too. So.
yeah, that's sort of what Dominator was the hardest thing with him was just trying to go. But you need to sit down and spend hours just looking at things, going over data, doing this, doing that. Once you do that, you start to understand how everything works, and then it all sort of just goes from there. If you've got the time to sit down and do it, you'll be able to do it. If you try and rush it, then you're going to struggle.
Right, yeah. So another guy asked, are there major differences in the tune-up for a turbo setup as there would be for a Pro Charge setup?
Oh, yeah.
So do you,
Yeah, that definitely
the,
a lot different.
yeah, so he says, are the timing curves and fuel curves similar? I would say because the linear power, because the power charger is totally different, right?
Yeah, but a map sensor-based ECU will take care of all that.
Sure.
The Pro Charger, your boost sort of comes up turbo, you get the big rush of torque as the turbos come on. A turbocharger will, generally speaking, on most engines, will have a lot less ignition timing in it than it will with the Pro Charger. That all depends on your fuel and your compression and all that sort of stuff. But generally, a turbo will have a lot less ignition timing in it. But the fuel tables will be very similar. Most of these new VE-based tuning systems will actually, like your fuel curve will be the power delivery of the engine, or the torque curve of the engine. So yes, the Pro Charger will keep the torque curve will go longer because the boost climbs as you rev. But all in all, the fuel is very similar, but the ignition timing will be way different.
So something that you touched on there that I kind of understand, but a lot of people might not. What's the main differences between, I guess, the fuel-based and then the VE-based?
Yep.
Like pounds per hour based and then VE.
So injection time, so injection milliseconds is still, some ECUs still use that. VE, which is the volumetric efficiency of the engine, and then you've got pounds per hour, which is like fast. Holly, you can switch between pounds per hour and VE fairly easily. Things like some fuel tech will still use injection time or VE if you wanted to, depending on how you set it up. But VE is generally the easiest because the ECU is calculating how much fuel delivery the engine should have. So you can get an engine running very quick on VE. Most of them will idle at about 50%. Most of them will be between 90 and 110 at full throttle. So providing you feed all the correct information into the ECU does the correct thing with that information, then your fuel maps are generally fairly simple.
So whenever you get a chance, do you usually use VE?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like most of the ECUs these days do VE, like your factory GM, early mod, like between 99 and 05, they're all in VE. So it's the easiest way to do it. It works, and as long as you give the ECU the right information, it's a very simple way to tune.
So I have a Holly in my car. It makes around 1,000 with an LS and a turbo. Can I switch right over to VE, or do you have to completely rebuild that map again?
I'm not that up on swapping between maps on a Holly because we don't. As I said, there's not very many. I think I've tuned about 5 or 6 of them, but I've always put them in VE before I've tuned them.
Gotcha.
I think if you just click the button to switch it to VE, it'll just swap it over. It'll keep running.
I might just swap.
I'll have to play with the Holly is just calculated VE. It's not. I think it still actually refers to the pounds an hour and converts numbers.
I see.
Does things like that. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. Do you have a lot of ProCharger setups over there? Or is it mostly just stuff?
Mostly like on the GM stuff, mostly either turbo or like a set amount of blower, so like a Harrop or a Magnuson, and things like that. ProChargers, not huge over here. I've maybe done 10 or 15 over the last 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
A lot of people get Vortex because there's a company here that brings in Vortex and makes kits for them. You do a few of them, but mostly the set amount of blowers are the big thing over here at the moment. Just basically for ease of fitment, you just take the intake manifold off, drop the blower on, comes with the injectors and everything all in it, hook up your fuel lines, and away you go. So do that. For sure. Get it all done in a day. So
yeah. So because you guys will do all that, right? If somebody brings you a stock car and they're like, put this on, tune it, and send it back, that makes it nice.
Yeah, that's
so. And then another question I had was how much. So a little background. The guy has. Do you have the Coyote engine over there, like in the Ford Mustangs and stuff? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So that's kind of what he has. It's like a 16 Mustang. And he says, how much more timing can you see with nitrous on like an E70 or E70 or a 91, like pump gas tune?
Yeah.
You usually see a lot of gain?
I haven't done a Coyote with nitrous. As I said, nitrous isn't a big thing over here, but I've done a lot of LSs with nitrous.
Sure.
If you're using E85 and nitrous, you don't have to pull much timing out at all, if any. Even spraying 150, 200 horsepower, you're still very close to your normally aspirated like 91 octane numbers. I haven't sprayed any more than 200 on E85. Everything I've sprayed more than that has had C16 or C23 in it.
Yeah.
But on the flex fuel cars here, the GM ones, if you want to spray nitrous on it, just fill it up with E85 and spray it. It's generally the timing numbers are almost identical. So,
when you're trying to tune on those, are you just watching to make sure you're staying away from any sort of knock coming in?
Yeah, generally, like if you're doing it on 91 and you wanted to spray 200 on 91, I'd probably pull 6 to 8 degrees of timing straight away, and then just see what it did. So generally, you'll put 2 degrees in and it won't make much power, so you're pretty close to where you're at, and then just put it in, plug in it, rip the plug out, and have a look and see what it's doing.
Gotcha. So what type of dyno do you guys have?
We've got a dyno dynamics. So it's
dyno
small
dynamics.
roller, small roller eddy current retarder on it. So
Very cool.
pretty well.
So you've used that. Have you had that for quite a while? Used.
We got our first Dynamics dyno in 2005, I think. So this is our third one. So we had an old second-hand two-wheel drive, and then we upgraded to a brand new two-wheel drive, and now this is a four-wheel drive. So yeah, it's a pretty good thing. It's
Give you something to play with.
Yeah, it's been good. We've had this for 5 or 6 years now, and it's been a really good thing.
So when people are looking for tuners or talking about tuning and stuff, a big thing's having an eddy brake, right? So you can really look at certain areas on the car and control the car better than like an inertia dyno or whatever.
Yeah, so we can do a run on like say your 600 horsepower street car. We can do a pull that is 2 seconds long, or we can do a pull that's 22 seconds long. And the eddy current, you can really control exactly how the ramp is. And these Dynamics have really good load control, so it will literally draw if you look at the speed acceleration, it draws a nice straight line. Like they're really nice. Whereas like an inertia dyno, you're limited by the weight of the drum. So if you put a 200 horsepower car on it, it might have a 20-second pull. You put a 1,000 horsepower car on it, it's only a 2-second pull. So,
yeah, I see. Now, does that only works up to about a certain horsepower, right? And then you'll just start heating up the brake.
Yeah, look, anything realistically 1,000 horsepower is about it on this dyno. Yeah, you can strap them down and hold them tighter and do all that, but it's generally 1,000 horsepower is about as good as you get. So
very cool. Well, I was trying to see if there's anything else. If anybody watching has any questions, go ahead and throw them in there, and we can go over that. I see a lot of people talking about RX-7s and everything else. So
yeah, I had an RX-7 many years ago, back in the day. I think everyone's had a rotary at some point in their life. Generally the best day of your life is the day you sell your rotary. So,
do you tune on some of the rotary cars over there?
Look, I've got a couple of mates that have them, and I do their cars. But these days, I'm not really that interested in doing rotaries. I got a mate that just moved over from New Zealand. They got a shop here now, so if he needed to do anything, I just send it over to him. So it's just we're pretty blessed. We've got a lot of good rotary people here. We've got Pack Performance. We've got Maztec down in Melbourne. We've got CBR Garage, which is Brent, who just come over from New Zealand. If I don't need to do them, if I got something, just send it to one of them. That's what they do every day. It's just easy. I've actually got my foot sitting on an eccentric shaft down here on the floor now, and but that's just an engine out of a mate's car. But I don't. I'm not really that interested in doing them there. Bernie saying bullshit, you'll do mine. I probably will, but if someone rings up the phone and on the phone and says I've got an RX-7 or I've got a rotary, I need it done, I want it tuned, I'll say nah, mate, just give Rocky a Pack or Brent at CBR a call and take it over there and get it all done.
Sure. What when somebody has an EFI car, what do you suggest as far as like maintenance to the injectors? And you recommend that they clean those pretty often in like race cars or higher end setups?
Yeah, so if it's a street car and you're using pump gas and you're driving around, generally you won't have an issue.
Sure.
If you use an E85 or methanol and the car sits, if you use like a Bosch style injector, then yes, you need to be on the maintenance with them because they will stick shut and they will cause you problems. So as soon as that injector dries out and all the fuel is gone out of it, that's it. It's going to be stuck. So you need to pull the injectors or start the car every week. You need to do something on it. You can't just let them sit. So I generally, on a methanol car, I pull them out and then fill them with WD-40, sit them in a jar so that they don't dry out. And then I will generally flow them before we put them back in the car and make sure that they're all good. And then you generally don't have an issue. But if you let them sit and let them dry out, then you will have problems. It's not if you'll have problems, you will. So
yeah, no, I learned it. I ran the same set of injectors on E for a year and a half, and then one of them went pretty dirty, and I have a piston to show for it now. So
yeah,
it
look, it does happen, and it's just the nature of the beast. You need such large injectors to make 1,000 horsepower on an LS. You're going to need 2,000cc injectors, or at least 1,700 to make the power. So those style injectors are not made to punch fuel. They're made to flow gas. So they need like literally to flow liquid gas. So like LPG.
Right.
So you need to. They're out of their design specs. So you need to keep an eye on them and keep.
So don't cheap out on injectors when you're going to higher end fuels for sure, huh?
Yeah, injectors they're a thing that you're going to talk to 15 different tuners, and 15 different tuners are going to give you 15 different answers on what injectors are their favourite.
Sure.
We generally have to work with what's in the car. So we've got injector flow beds, you can see there behind me. So we'll flow injectors and check them and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. But if they've already got $2,000 worth of injectors, you're not going to want to, they're not going to pay $2,000 for a different brand because you generally use the other brand. So
sure,
you've just got to make do with everything. And you read all these Facebook pages with all these tuner pages, and everyone said, "Oh, this injector didn't come with data, so I can't tune with it." I'm like, well, fucking 10 years ago, we didn't have injector data. Like you have to learn how to work out what dead times to put in it and things like that. These people these days, they don't realise how easy they've got it with just you buy a set of injectors, it comes with a piece of paper, it says put these numbers in it and it will work.
Sure.
But even the numbers that most of the injectors come with, they're still not 100%. So
I get you.
The dead times are given off a X brand ECU at X factory at X voltage with X power supply. You need to still fine tune the setup. So
I guess that would change quite a bit, right? When you're talking like a 12 volt or 16 volt race setup, the injectors would do different things.
Yeah,
sure.
100%. The dead times on 16 volts are way different than they are on 12. So that's just something you just have to learn to do. And a lot of these copy and paste tuners, they can't really get that stuff done,
Sure. And that's I guess that's what kind of sets everybody apart, right? Is like how far are you willing to go into the tune? Like you said, copy and paste. People just send tunes that'll work, but are you really going to go in and make sure it's right on the money?
Yeah, these days, like with the I'll buy HP tuner dongle for $700 or whatever it is, and they suck a file out of someone's car and they go, "Oh, this is good." We'll just flash that into everyone else's car. There's guys that flash them out on the road out here and they don't dyno them, they don't do anything, they don't check them. They just go, "Hey, it should be right, send it." So
Sure.
That's probably a problem worldwide. It's probably not just here in Sydney. It's everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I see. I think I see a lot of that. I mean, it's everywhere, but especially with a lot of people I hear about like tuning their diesel trucks, they order it and it has their 3 tunes that they tuned one truck on, and it just works. They just throw it in every other truck on the road. But
that's the diesel tuning is another whole ball game. Like that's not a that's a story for another time. We do a few diesels. We don't do too many, but a lot of people literally just buy a file, flash it in. Yep, thanks for coming. So
right. Cool. So what are you guys going to work on? I know you're heading to the track. We'll let you go here in a minute. What's the plan for today with the car?
Yeah, we'll just taking the Commodore out this afternoon. We've got a track hire from 3 to 9 p.m. So it'll be relatively hot till probably 5, 6 o'clock, and then the track should be killer after that. So I know Paul Mahayat went a 550 or 560 last night in his pro mod. So the track's there. So it should be a good day.
So just go out there and keep chipping away at what you're working on, huh?
Mate, we just want to run a 6 in that Commodore. Like, been trying for a few years now to do it. So it's gone 702. So it's but like we had an electrical drama that was causing a misfire. As soon as the booster go over 30 pounds, I think it started missing. And it was a bloody earth lead on the isolator switch had corroded and it literally just pulled out. So that's all fixed now, all new earth leads and everything through the car, because we built that car 8-9 years ago. So they were all the original earth leads. So it's got a whole new set in it now. So it should be right. So we went out last 3-4 weeks ago, and then it hurt the box there, but it didn't miss or carry on. So it should be on the money today, hopefully.
Very cool. So you went 702 with the combo that's in it right now, right? Or
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but it was doing that. Had a miss as soon as you turn the power up. So you turn the boost down and it doesn't miss, but it wasn't going very fast. So I don't know. Look, if we can go 6 anything, is sort of over 214 mile an hour, I'll be pretty happy. So
absolutely, man.
Yeah, it's a big, heavy car, and it's not really set up perfect for radials. It's a little bit too heavy on the nose, so it's you can't hit it with a lot of horsepower off the start line. But we'll chip away at it and get
Do
it.
you?
We don't have tracks like you guys have for radials. Like they don't put 10 drums of glue on a track out here, so we can.
Sure.
We don't, it's a different ball game compared to what you guys have got. So
yeah. Some of the tracks they get pretty crazy here, and then when they're not there, you see that everybody's off on their game because it doesn't work the same.
Yeah, like the quickest radial car here, I think he's a 408 in the 8th, 406 maybe.
Still.
So it's a high 40, so it's that's a screw blown.
Oh wow.
So it's not, and that is on the track in Queensland. They have radial days where they prep the track just radial prep. So we're still a fair way off on the ball game on radials, but
sure. Do you even really put the high horsepower cars on the dyno for like basic shakedown stuff before you go to the track?
Yeah, not on this dyno here. Like we can't hold the power, so I'll generally go and rent a hub dyno to do it. Todd Mainline has been pretty good to us and let us use his, and then Michael Baghdadi and Nick Motorsports, we've used his as well. Most of the guys in the tune shops over here, we all talk to each other. We all get on. Like people probably think that we don't, but we all talk to each other, and we all know each other, and we'll help each other out whenever we can. So, I've get guys from other tune shops come here and use our dyno, and then I'll go to other tune shops and use their dyno. So there's enough hub dynos around here that we can rent to go and do what we need to do. We don't really have enough room here to put a hub dyno in. So, one of these days we'll get a bigger shop, and then we'll have a bit more room to put one in. So.
Yeah, PRI 2 years ago or whatever, I saw Joe Belowski from here in the States. He got that big mainline hub dyno, and that thing's
he's got the
pretty crazy pieces there.
Horsepower one from memory.
It's
Haltech
massive.
USA's got the 3,000 horsepower one there in Kentucky now. So, and there's Chris at Wichita Dyno. He's got one. So there's getting to be a few of those hub dynos. You got Tony Parlo's got a 5,000 horsepower one as well. So around that middle area in the US, there's quite a fair few. So I know Todd's going to be working now that he's got all that whole legal bullshit out of the way. He's going to start working on selling some more over there. So hopefully they'll end up on each coast, and it'll be well covered. And then for cars like Frank's, where we need one, we can go and go and find one without having to drive 8 or 9 hours either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool, man. Well, I appreciate your info and you spending some time here talking to me and chatting. I get real interested in all the EFI stuff. So.
Yeah, no problems. Anytime you need.
So if anybody, absolutely. If anybody wants to find out more about you, what's all your social media outlets, or where can they see some of your stuff at?
Yeah, so the easiest one, obviously, is Car Steel Exhaust and Performance. That's our main Facebook page, and then I've got a little one there, Tuned by Dale. I just put some stuff up every now and again, what I'm doing in the US or here, there, and everywhere. Instagram, the same pages. I'm pretty average on Instagram. I don't get on there very often, but it's a bit too hard. I don't have a lot of time to deal with a lot of social media stuff. But Facebook, I'm more active on Facebook anywhere else. And and our Car Steel page, we put our general day-to-day jobs that we're doing, we put up on there, and so everyone can sort of keep an eye on what's going on there. So.
Very cool. Well, if you guys would, please go follow him and give him some support, and we appreciate you getting on here, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, no problems.
All right, man. Have a good day, and good luck at the track.
Thank you.
See ya.